Okay, we're good. Scared me there for a second. Whew. Okay. And I will be right back as this gets going. Alrighty. So I know I started the recording a little bit early. But yeah. Welcome to another episode of Video Games and Scriptures. Now today we're going to talk about a person. And no, it's not going to be about Jesus Christ. But someone who I guess you could say worked for or in behalf of Jesus Christ. And that is the prophet Joseph Smith. But yeah, so we'll start that conversation like usual, mostly when Stockton arrives. But today, let me show you how this city's come along. Obviously, there's a fire in the distance. Nope, that's not what I wanted. That's the one. So as you can hear, there is an airport now. And there's a lot of trouble in this town, apparently. Now, I thought I heard sirens in the distance. I don't know if those are real sirens coming from outside or not, but sirens. Yep. If you'll give me just a second, I gotta take care of something really quick. I'll leave you to watch this while we wait. I wish I had some music. I don't know what I could play because, you know, Twitch and YouTube are a little finicky on those things. So, I hate to say it, but enjoy the silence. Okay. So I believe the last time I showed you guys this place, the city was only here. Like, yeah. And these roads right here, this is probably about as far as we went. No, it was this road right here. This is as far as we went. So we stuck with the half circle-ish thing. I don't know what you want to call it. Horseshoe. We'll call it that. And so far, it's worked pretty good. It looks nice. And sounds amazing. I decided to make the center of the horseshoe a business center for the city. And I want you to listen to something here, because it's quite funny. I love it. So listen carefully. You'll hear it. Maybe I should scoot over a little. Yeah, I'll scoot the camera over a little. There it is. I don't know if you heard that. But basically, somebody said I should have stayed home. So, is that a VW bug? Oh my gosh, that's funny. It's got flowers on it. That's so cool. Okay. Mary Phillips fits the name. Whee. Excuse me. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. We'll go back to the other city once we actually start the conversation. And this one is now full. Great timing too, if I might add. This one is still emptying. Okay, so 45. Sorry, I was thinking. All right, so I hate the silence. It's normally not this quiet. You have to really zoom in to get the sound. Look at this though. Like, this is my favorite intersection I've ever had in a game, just because it looks beautiful. While we're looking at that, I'm gonna fix the ambient sounds. We'll go down to vehicles. Yeah, because I live in America, I did this. We're gonna go with default on the car engine noises. For some reason, I only have European sounds when it comes to engines, which I would like to fix. Okay, so let's see what that does for the... Absolutely nothing. Okay, the European sounded cooler. We're gonna go back to that. Just troubleshooting a little, you know. Scooters. Why not? It actually sounds a lot better if you ask me. But I don't know. Let me know if you like that sound or not. It sounds more realistic. We have more realistic vehicles in here. Some of them, at least. Like, especially emergency vehicles. I still have to fix the train... Not the train. The fire truck and the ambulance, because... we still have no ambulance. Nope. Follow him! And there's another one off in the distance. I don't know if you heard that. Church house? Where is he going? That is a very interesting... Okay. Both... Okay. Alright. We'll roll with it, alright? That should fix itself. So, there's a trick I've learned from watching some YouTubers. And that is, I think I may have said this before, but if you keep these around half, there usually isn't a problem with a worker shortage. Because as long as it's at half, that means you have a lot of people who are still looking for jobs. And so it should be good. And the grass is purple. Unfortunately, in this game, there's no way to fix that. Like in SimCity, you plop down trees, they suck it up and die, and then you plop down more, and the cycle continues, and it's just a waste of money. But in this game, you have to get like the Green City expansion, which I still have yet to get. Look at these neighborhoods. Like, look at them. It is one nice, happy area. There's a high traffic ban on the side streets here. And then up here, these poor people. I watched that ambulance have to drive all the way up here. The guy probably died before, or his injury got worse. We'll put it that way. Long before he reached the hospital. I mean, it's not even a hospital; it's just a clinic, and it's right down here. See. And they're playing some ball. Took you long enough. might have to plop a hospital down in the center at some point. Holy garbage problems! Alright, so we're going to need a second one. Or we build another one of these. Alright, yeah. We're going to build a at least 2 more. There's a reason why I'm doing this. So, I'm going to shut you off. Only reason why I'm doing that is because I stagger them. I have one turn off while the other one works. So, in this case, I'll have 2 turned off, 2 turned on. Oh yeah, no, there's a serious issue over here. Oh, it's a nice house too. When did they have that? I don't remember them actually having garbage cans outside. Am I just not that observant? Probably. Yeah, we have a problem out here. And we're starting to have a problem over here. So, here's what I'm going to do. We're going to build... Yeah. Alright. Perfect. A little side road there. I just realized I'm going to need more cemeteries, which this might be a perfect area to put one. Sorry, peeps. The people die. We have to have a place to put them. And this actually is not a bad area, I would say. It fits. Where I lived in Georgia, there's basically a church house and a cemetery, basically put in a very similar fashion, where oh, go buddy, go! Two of them. I love that they turn off the sirens beforehand too. That's a really cool detail that the modders made. Actually, I think I can't remember if it's a vanilla thing or if it's the mod. Oh no! So somebody must have gotten hurt there from that fire. Nope, never mind. The fire was there. Little Timmy broke his finger. Come on, garbage trucks. I might have to put a landfill over here. I shouldn't have to. There we go. Where are they going? Okay, you better be going left. Yes! You people rock! You're doing your job! Perfect. Why did they skip? Oh, they're full. Oh, dang. You know, you have a lot of garbage in your city when your garbage trucks fill themselves up after a few houses. He's full. He's full. He's full. He's not. But look at how quickly he fills up. That is ridiculous. No wonder why we're having a garbage issue. These people use too much garbage. There's a dead person over here. Here's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, alright, so we're gonna switch to recycling. Let me play with the policies. Oh crap. Don't tell me you're a broken game. Ah, it's not letting me play with the policies. That's not cool. Well, we're working on the garbage problem. What's this? Citizens are sick. I know why. It was the garbage thing. At least it's just the one house. Hopefully we don't get a... hopefully it doesn't spread. I might have to place a hospital or two. Oh, dadgum. Dadgum. Okay. You're forcing my hand here, guys. I'll actually put it here on these. Perfect. And hopefully they get out to enough people. Ugh. Oh, jeez. And the good old Falcon should be on here in just a moment. Oh, he's empty. Okay, so the garbage situation over here is almost handled. This one over here is going to get handled pretty quick since I've got this road here. So I'm thinking about putting the college out here. Putting a college out here. Which honestly, I think would not be a bad idea. So it's not letting me change the policies right now. Why? It's never done that to me before. So many upgrades though, which is a good thing. And I believe that hospital triggered it. TL capacities are getting pretty high. Crime rate's still low. I don't want to... Oh yeah, that's right. This came with the new DLC that I just got. Yeah, I don't want to... Fire hazard is not too good. Oh, jeez. Alright. We need it, unfortunately. Because people are apparently not the smartest. And this usually it's gonna, like I said, solve itself because of this. So, and basically all the housing locations are filled. Oh, of course, the one spot. My luck. Water's looking pretty good. Sewage treatment's starting to drop a little. How about power? Power, we're still doing pretty good. We're still doing really good. And that's because I had some fun over here. I made like a legit wind farm. Not really, they're like way too close together to be safe. So not nearly as loud as what a wind farm actually sounds. Honestly, I don't know how these are functioning. Like it's pulling water from underground. See, look at that. This dam right here is doing a pretty good job. I have not seen it actually run yet, so which isn't a bad thing. I mean, you'd think it would have started overflowing again, but yeah. Okay, we're still having issues with garbage, and our not enough educated workers issue is starting to rise. So that means, yeah, that's what I was afraid of. Oh, that's bad. That's really bad. Okay, so I've been neglecting my high school students. So let me go ahead and fix that problem. Why not stick the high school on the corner, eh? And oh, that was an elementary school. Alright, so elementary school's on that corner. High school. We'll stick that right there. And hopefully that helps alleviate some of this. Apparently not. Shoot. What's going on? Because people don't want to get educated. That's why. Oh my gosh. Why is it still... Oh, probably because it's still hiring. No, because normally the colors change instantly. Sorry to all you peeps, but you need the high schools. Okay. We'll let that sit. Actually, let's come back and see if it's changed. Not much. They'll eventually start going to school as the generations continue on. That's something that I've learned in this game, that generations are an actual thing. So, I think that's pretty cool too. So I should have some new buildings. Yep. Jet ski rentals, arena, restaurant pier, volleyball court, and a skate park. I'm gonna stick a skate park down here actually. It seems like a pretty good idea. You're gonna take it?
No, you can take it.
Oh. I already have lunch there though.
Yeah.
So you can have it. What are these? Tourism and leisure. Oh, these are the new buildings. The casino, driving range, fantastic fountain, hotel, and zoo. So, alright, I'm about to switch over. We'll start the full conversation. Yeah, that's a nice building though. Not enough educated workers. I'm working on a solution for that. And so is a fire. Oh, that's a bad fire. I love how, like, when a fire starts on a house, it's not just the house, it's everything around on the property. Trees, bushes, and all. Ugh, that's rough, buddy. Need more housing here. Thanks to these, this has stayed down pretty low. It's a very interesting trigger. Our little industrial area over here is already full. Can I place? Yeah, I placed a PlayStation here already. It's taking them so long. All the police in the main city? Oh, jeez. Traffic. Let's go if we can. Well, let's go ahead and see if we can't change the flow of traffic here. Still can't change policies. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. To help traffic continue to flow properly. Oh, don't give me that! Rude. Oh, poop. So I can't change the industrial roadage to one way. No bueno. Well, that sucks. Okay, maybe that made it a little worse. Oh crap. Yeah, I'm going to fix that. Oops. Intro. I don't know why that keeps breaking those. It makes no sense to me, but, you know, to each their own. Okay. Alright. We're going to save that. I see buildings to bulldoze, garbage issues up here, which I can't say I'm very surprised about. And look, they're coming to fix it already. Oh, and he. Okay, so we're just gonna bulldoze these two buildings. Only because I'm slightly OCD. Alright, now we'll save it and leave. I promise. Okay. Saving high on the mountaintop. Yes, I named it high on the mountaintop. Nobody judge me. And we're going to load RPG goats. So, yep. Alright. So, as you heard me say, today we'll be discussing sorry. The prophet Joseph Smith. I'm just looking around just to get my bearings again. All those beach side things are going to work really well here. Anyways, so yeah, the prophet Joseph Smith, and I'm just going to give a little bit of an intro here, by all technicality. That's a nice house. But for all my videos, obviously lately there's been, the first 30 minutes has just been me playing the game. And then the last half hour to hour, depending on the subject on hand, we have the conversation. It's always these little buildings. No! It was so nice. Why? Oh, I'm so sad now. Hold on, I have to replace that. I don't even know. It's so funny. My gosh. I ruined everything. It was huge. I know that much. Was it that? I'm unsure. We'll go with that, because it looks, well, big. Okay, yeah. Ooh, what are these? Hold on, these are new. Oh, I think that's what was there. Yeah, we'll go with that. What is this? Okay, it's that. Alright, cool. I'm done playing around. Alright. Maybe. What is this? Ooh. Oh, that's so cool. That looks cool. I might one of these days find a use for that. So, back to the topic on hand. To the prophet Joseph Smith, which is today's subject. So, I have to pull something up here. I believe. Yeah. Alright. Love you.
What?
I said I love you.
Oh,
Good night.
I'm not going to bed yet.
Oh, okay. She's not going to bed yet, she says. Okay. So, many names have been given to the prophet Joseph Smith. Some call him, and well, and this is just a paraphrase. What some people would say is he who would defy God. And yeah, today I will be discussing the life of the prophet of the Restoration. We know him as the prophet of the Restoration. Joseph Smith restored a lot of things that had been lost in the past, including in the scriptures. A lot of people give him flack because of the Book of Mormon, and in my eyes, and in the eyes of many others, including some scholars, he does not deserve that. The Book of Mormon was his work that God had given to him, as God has given almost every prophet of every dispensation a work to do. We'll look at Moses. His work was to bring the children of Israel out of Egypt. You have, well, Adam. His work is was to prepare his children to meet God. And it is still that this day. Well, to this day. And how many other prophets should I go through? Isaiah. His was to declare the word. Not just the word, but all the things of God. In such a way that would require the children of men to search the scriptures. Many prophets and many people, like myself, love the book of Isaiah. It teaches so many truths in there. They're so plain and blatant, but are so hard to understand. And when Stockton joins us, we'll continue to delve deeper into Joseph Smith's life. But first off, I want to talk about where he came from, his family, which was a humble family. His father, Joseph Smith Sr., was a man who feared God. Not in the sense of fearing, but in the sense of, respect and reverence. He loved God and knew that God was our Father in heaven. And he taught that to all of his children. Joseph Smith, most of all, seemed to cling on to this and kind of took that to heart. When the Second Great Awakening happened in New York, where they lived, he had no clue what to do. Obviously, there are so many religions out there that declare the same general thing, but seem to be completely different. And when I say completely different, I mean completely different. Almost every sect of Christianity out there teaches the truths differently from one another. And it can be frustrating to some and very confusing because we all say something different. But one of the things that Joseph Smith noticed was that they all fought about it. None of them ever agreed on any single piece of They did agree on some pieces, but very many points they argued and disagreed about many points of the doctrine, especially in the Bible. Because unfortunately, for many years, that is the only place where we could receive the Word of God and His revelations. Which, granted, were older than we give it credit for. Although they are still useful. And they still ring true. The Bible has never once lost its validity. Joseph Smith knew this. And so he was taught, because of this confusion, he wanted to know which religion was true. Half of his family went to one church. The other half went to another. And he was confused as to what he should do from there. And I mean, if we all think about it, we would all be confused. Oh, that's a problem. Well, there's room. Look at that. I mean, it's running low, but I now have an actual prison. But oh, excuse me. Sorry. So Joseph Smith took to reading the Bible something fierce. He searched it day in and day out, looking for something that could tell him what he needed to do. And there was a single scripture in James chapter 1, verse 5. It was verse 5. And it said, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it will be given him. Why are all these... I didn't realize... Well, fetch! Don't wonder why I couldn't hear Jack Diddley squat. But okay then. Got that fixed. Commercial. Fire, yep. Just fixing these. Alright, cool. So oh, that's better. I can hear things now. So he read this scripture, obviously, and it touched his heart. He knew immediately that something had to be done. And the scripture said to ask of God. So obviously, Joseph Smith taking the words, asked of God. And as I've discussed in other videos, I'm so sorry, excuse me. He went into the forest, knelt down and prayed, and asked God which of all the sects were true. Well, he got an answer, and it was an answer in a way that he would never have expected. That just no. How do you get a car in there? I mean, okay. We'll go with it. We'll roll with it. But Joseph Smith said this: I saw a pillar of light exactly over my head, which descended gradually until it fell upon me. And to paraphrase the rest, he saw God the Father and Jesus the Christ. two of the most, well, not, I wouldn't say well known, I would say the two beings that helped create this earth. And obviously the Holy Ghost was definitely present. It was palpable, I'm sure. For they never go anywhere except with the Holy Ghost, because it's in their presence constantly. The Spirit of God, like a fire is burning, is a song that we love, well, that I love. It's a hymn. And Joseph Smith's heart was burning. He was told to join none of the sects out there, none of the religions out there, because none of them taught the full truth. They draw near to me with their hearts, well, with their mouths or tongues. I'm gonna have to paraphrase this, but yeah. So they draw near to me with their tongues, but their hearts are far from me. They taught religion. They taught the gospel, and though they believed what they taught was true, living it was a whole other thing. And Joseph Smith took this, and he immediately, well, he woke up on his back after the vision, having no strength. The heck? So yeah, he took that, and he went home, and immediately, well, told his family. I wouldn't say immediately, because he was so exhausted and spiritually drained that there wasn't much he could do physically. He had to stop, and I can't remember if it was in his mother's journal, which I think it was. He had to lean against the fireplace mantle. And when she asked him what was wrong, he just said, "I have learned a great truth. Well, I finally learned for myself." Which of all truths are true. I'm paraphrasing it once again. Look at him go. Oh man, he's flying. That must be quite the emergency. Woohoo! You go get him, boy. Okay. And so, I don't know if his mother knew exactly what was going on at that moment. I'm sure she could feel it. But, it's, I mean, when you look at all the prophets, a lot of them say that they feel the same thing. Look at him go. He's going just as fast. Not faster. Something must be really going on today. Crime is really sticking their noses out there. But yeah, it's a lot, because when you look at the Holy Bible, there are some prophets that said that their strength had left their bodies, or that they could not speak, and this was the same with Joseph Smith. He sat there speechless for quite some time. After this, he did everything he could. I wouldn't say everything, because obviously as a teenager, you still get into some nefarious things. You do some crazy things as a teenager, which everyone does in their childhood and teenage years. But this was a few years later, he was reproved by an angel of the Lord. And he was told to, basically told and shown where the Book of Mormon was. And he was told that he would be the one to translate it. This was when he was 17. So 3 years after the vision that he had. The first vision. And that is also what we call it. So Joseph Smith then started doing his best to walk uprightly before God, to be a better person. And about several years later, he started the translation of the Book of Mormon into what we have today. And with that, I'm just going to go ahead and walk away for a second. I have to go take care of something. So I will be right back and we'll continue the life of Joseph Smith. Okay. I'm back. Sorry about that. Alright. So, we just finished off talking about his role with the Book of Mormon. And I'm not done with that, by the way. We'll come back to that. But I'm going to have to rewind a little bit. Because in between this time, when he started the restoration, well, not the restoration, the translation of the Book of Mormon and his own, the first vision, he was telling people about it. And telling people that he saw God face to face. And that he saw Jesus Christ face to face. Two separate beings. And he was prosecuted for this. Laughed at. Even. People didn't believe him at all. And it's quite unfortunate because, I mean, and honestly, it's right in line with how we as humans act during these days. That we really don't believe stuff like that when people say it. I don't know why. Because it was true. Joseph Smith knew it. And why would he make it up in the first place? What reason and what purpose would there be? I don't think he wanted that kind of attention. Nobody wants that kind of attention. He knew what he was going to get himself into when he told people. I mean, of course, he wanted people to believe it and to feel the same spirit that he felt. But unfortunately, people didn't. And for years, he would be hunted down and hurt in pretty brutal ways. Joseph Smith, from that point forward, would have a very, I guess I would say, interesting life. And he did know it. And, like I said, he knew what he was getting himself into. He wouldn't make it up. I don't think anybody would ever make any of that up. Oh, well, that's an issue. So this whole time, while he was
Boop.
oh, there he is. It's about time.
Yeah, I had to eat first.
Nah, you're good. I was actually just getting to the juicy part. Maybe. This might have to be a 2-part episode where we continue the next week. But I was basically at the point where I was talking about Joseph Smith's life while he was translating the Book of Mormon.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. And
Were you just starting at it, or where were you at?
So I was just I just kind of saying that, how he was telling everybody about like his visions and that he spoke to God face to face, and how he was basically hunted from then on by people who got angry at this.
Yeah.
And so I was just about to start saying that Joseph Smith was... Well, yeah, he was translating the Book of Mormon, and while he was doing so, ran into a lot of opposition.
So much.
Yeah. Which, honestly, yeah, it's horrible, and a lot of people still don't really... I guess a lot of people still don't believe it, and they don't believe the opposition that the church met. When there's still proof of it everywhere the church has been.
Yeah. One of the biggest ones you probably already mentioned was the apology letter from the state of Missouri.
I haven't actually mentioned that. Why don't you go ahead and talk about that a little bit?
So, the reason why I bring that up is because during that time, my dad was a missionary over in Missouri. And when he was there, that's when they officially released that official letter of apology. Because the reason why, and this happened way after Joseph Smith had translated the Book of Mormon, but it was during the time when the Senator Bogg in Missouri had signed an order, basically a extermination order against the members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or the extermination order against Mormons.
Yep.
And so at that time, it was still technically in effect. And because of that, that's when Missouri released an official statement of apology and removing that order. Just because it was very erroneous, very heinous, because it went against all the things the United States was for, was the freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and all that.
Yeah. No, because...
Well,
yeah, I don't know if anybody really understands what the extermination order was. Basically, the extermination order said you can kill Mormons in any way you really wanted to. And
yeah.
it was just to get them... I mean, it wasn't just to get them out of the state. It was actually to exterminate them. And people... It was legal. And it's... I would say it's one of the darkest points in American history where this was allowed.
Yeah, it was like... I try to remember the writing was. It was like first, like, try to kill them or get them out of the state. And so, like, it put, like, killing first, which was the worst.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's that. That was part of the opposition, but this was, after the translation of the Book of Mormon. But during the translation, there were people constantly trying to get the manuscripts from him, and also the plates. Which, the gold plates is what Joseph Smith was translating from. And a lot of people really wanted to get their hands on them because, of course, they're gold plates.
They were turning for a profit and everything like that. That was the biggest thing. Yeah. And sorry to kind of pull it away, but one thing I definitely recommend for anyone that's watching and wants to look and watch and read more. There's plenty of correspondence There was, I can't remember, we watched it on my mission, but there was a little movie created by the church kind of showing Joseph Smith's life during that time, where people were trying so many different ways from
Oh
keep
yeah.
raiding his home, like basically every day. One person invited like I can't remember what the type of person was, but using like dowel rods to try to find metal and all that.
Yeah,
Which
dowsing
that
rods.
one, dowsing rods, which that one has an amazing story because when he had first come, Joseph immediately just told him to leave. And then when he was hiding it one morning, he's hiding the gold plates inside a box to kind of keep protected and about to hide him in a barn. But then he was prompted by the Holy Ghost to leave the box in there to hide and then hide the plates somewhere else. The the dower or dowser, whatever you want to call him, comes back, finds the box, but could not find the plate.
Yeah. And I guess,
And
sorry, continue.
I was going to say, and basically Joe Smith did that this the entire time. Basically had to keep hiding him, keep
Oh, yeah.
translating him, and was able to do it with really no issue.
But that was also because, like, the angel Moroni, told him to continuously hide them and to, like, he kept moving them from place to place and hid them in several different places so that nobody would look in the same place twice.
Exactly.
And even during this time, people were still actually actively trying to kill, maim, or even get rid of Joseph Smith. He had been tarred and feathered several times.
Several.
Which, I mean, we did during and right before the American Revolution. And honestly, I still think it's a very inhumane way of showing dislike. And the worst part is, in the film, The Prophet of the Restoration shows it pretty well. He gets torn out of bed in the middle of the night from his wife and his kids, and they tear him outside, tear off his clothes, and cover him in tar, and then feather him.
Yeah.
And it's a very brutal experience. I've never experienced it myself, and I hope I never have to. But
Oh, definitely.
yeah,
And then there's two stories that pop into my head about that. One of them being where, like, one night he's tired of feather, the next morning he's up. You see, like, his skin is scarred and burnt because of it, and his preaching.
yeah,
And everything. So this didn't even phase him at all.
no,
And another one, which is always the saddest one to think about, was one you were quoting from the Restoration movie, was that that night he and his wife were taking care of these two little sick babies, and that because of him being torn out of bed caused the baby that was more sick to get overexposed and eventually die.
yeah. It's very sad, and like there's it's one of the things that you would never think a human being would be capable of, would be doing stuff such as that. And I hate to say it, but it's, well, look at World War II.
Yeah. I think of, like, even to the Civil War.
Yeah.
Any war that's occurred, that the Satan has gotten a hold of the hearts of men so well that it's causes so much conflict.
Yep. And just to think that all this even happened mostly just around this one person. And then after the Book of Mormon was published and it was sent basically all around the world by the then Organized Church of Jesus Christ, which it was originally called, well, many people started flocking to the church and coming to the States, especially where they were, which was, I'm trying to remember where it was at the time. Was it Missouri? It was Missouri, wasn't it? Because, no, it was Ohio, I think.
Yeah, it would have been in Ohio when a lot of the converts started coming from England and all that.
Yeah. But, like, Missouri, the Saints were mostly from the States at the time. And it was at that point the opposition kind of started kicking in, and people were constantly hunting them down. And at one point, you have the event that happened, which is known as the Hans Mill massacre, and
yeah.
which a mob of angry, and I would even say disillusioned people, came in and shot almost every single man in the village, and raped and killed women and children. Hello, smart car. And like, I don't know, like it's sad. It's terrible even to know that people would do that, and like they didn't care. Joseph Smith was actually imprisoned at this time in a place called Carthage Jail, which, by all accounts, was not the nicest of places to be, and obviously nobody likes to be in a prison. But the living conditions were terrible, and some of the guards there had been at Hansmill and were bragging about killing and raping the women and children, and I don't know if this says, and I would say this says a lot about Joseph Smith's character. But as they were doing this, Joseph Smith stood up and, in a very commanding voice, I would add, told them to stop. And that's just paraphrasing it, because what he said was very...
It was very unique. Like people, it's quoted both in Dr. Cutman's and also in the Restoration movie, where he said the great authority, like what Sam's about to say, was that of... actually, let me not steal your... Let me have you continue what he says.
So he basically says... well, first off, he says, silence, you fiends of the infernal pit. I will not live one more second to hear such talk. You will cease such speech, or you and I will die this instant.
I thought it was you or I.
You or I, yeah, sorry. Yeah. You or I will die this instant. And
silence the whole room. No one wants to speak anything.
Yeah, nobody said a word after that. Like, you have to think about the commanding presence that a person would have to do such a thing like that, especially with a group of people that were so fired up and having fun talking about this and
such erroneous
actions and horrific actions. But like, it's funny. The movie shows it very well, I would say, and they do a very good job at showing it, and it's honestly it's kind of terrifying because throughout the whole movie you see this happy and very fun-loving person who all he wants to do is just live a happy life and lead the Church of Jesus Christ. Well, lead the Church of Jesus Christ faithfully, but then he gets to this point where like he's listening to this talk, and I mean I don't know I don't know about everyone else who might be watching or listening. I would get sick of it pretty quickly. Now, whether or not I would have the strength to say something like that to men who are armed to the teeth with muskets and bayonets and knives, that's intimidating. And Joseph Smith just stood up like it was nothing.
Exactly, and one thing. Oh, sorry.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
For anyone that is or it will be listening, you ever want to kind of like, if you're especially not a member of the church, feel free to like look up on YouTube. You can look up the movie itself right on YouTube for free.
Oh yeah.
You can watch it there to kind of learn a little bit about their history.
Yep. Which is incredible. But yeah, so like, rewind it a little bit. The reason why Joseph Smith was in this prison, what was it? It was like one of the apostles. No, it wasn't the apostles. It was one of the counselors. Yeah, one of the counselors had sold him to the. I want to say it was the Missouri government, because they had a reward on Joseph Smith, and it was a dead or alive award. Will reward. So like, but I mean, obviously, he was worth more alive. But I mean, basically, they told the counselor that he would get a share of the reward, and obviously, the counselor never got it. Joseph Smith was.
Didn't that guy get like town and feather or something? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, I believe he actually did, like almost immediately afterwards. Not by members of the church, but by by the very people that imprisoned Joseph Smith.
Yeah.
It's like, you have to remember, when you serve Satan, you never get upheld for your work. Nothing good comes out of it. Like, take a look at Hitler for one. He basically served the devil to the T. And look what happened to him. Fear took over his heart. He ended up committing suicide because he knew that he would stand trial in front of the entire world for the heinous crimes that he had caused to be committed. And so, it's... you have history of this everywhere. Of people who do bad things and never, ever get anything good out of it. And I even made one example of the Jews after the crucifixion of Christ. It was about 50 or so years. No, it was like 100 years after Christ was crucified. The Romans came. Well, Jews actually rebelled against Rome. Ambushed ambushed an army, killing about 1,000 men, and took basically everything that army had. Ooh, that'll be a fun place to live. Now, obviously, the Romans don't take kindly to their people being killed. They sent, what was the name of the general? Well, basically, this general had won pretty much the hearts of the entire Roman Empire because of, for one, his strategy, and two, he won almost basically every battle he'd ever been in, and the Roman people loved this. Much like we still love and revere Washington and General Eisenhower. And the Romans came in and destroyed Jerusalem and killed everyone inside the city.
And then took the remaining as slaves.
Yep, and then took whoever was left as slaves. Women and children, basically. They killed all the men and took the women and children as slaves. And there's even lots of stories about the people who killed Joseph Smith. Whether or not they're true is a whole nother question, because, people like to make legends and say things, and you never know if they are true. But,
Exactly.
going back several years to the incarceration at that prison, Joseph Smith eventually, with the help of some friends, escaped. And I say escape because, well, yeah, it was an escape, and because he was unjustly imprisoned. I can't remember what the charges were. Do you remember, Stockton?
I don't.
Sad. But basically, there was this whole hoopla about it, and eventually, yeah, the whole situation led to his murder. But after this point, the Saints were pushed out of Missouri and out of Ohio. By the way, they were literally, this is when the order was given by Governor Boggs. Well, that was back in Missouri, but basically Ohio, the people had the same idea, but they didn't actually make it an executive order. It was...
They were a little bit nicer about it.
Yeah, they were a little bit nicer, yeah. The government wasn't looking to kill Joseph Smith. It was mostly just a large group of people who did not agree with the teachings of the church. And they took the city of Kirtland, Ohio, and basically pushed everyone out and burned the temple. No, they didn't. No, the Kirtland temple wasn't burned. It's still there. It was
burned later.
What was that?
It was burned later.
Yeah. It was in Nauvoo that they burned the temple. And as a matter of fact, I believe it was also the members of the church that did it too. I can't remember though. Was it? No, it wasn't.
No, I'm pretty sure it was like apostates had claimed it. And then it was burned down,
Yeah.
and then it was rebuilt.
No, yeah. The apostates had claimed the Kirtland temple after the members were pushed out. And they used it as, what was it, a town hall after that?
Something like that.
Yeah. I mean, so it wasn't
Not
used for
sure.
anything nefarious, thankfully. But still, it was not used for its intended purpose. But yeah, Joseph Smith had to go with them all the way over to Nauvoo. He led them there, I believe, after members of the church had found the spot and decided, hey, this is a good place to go. And so Joseph Smith, obviously, he was the governor of all these cities that they would build. And that was not entirely by his choice. If I remember right, it was actually mostly by the choice of the people, the members of the church. Because, I mean, he obviously ran and won every time. And he even ran for president at one point. This was when he was in Nauvoo. And I was actually listening to a book on this. There was a gentleman who showed up in Nauvoo to get votes for... I can't remember who was running for president at the time. It wasn't Andrew. I can't remember. But he was there getting votes in the city of Nauvoo, where Joseph Smith, the prophet of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, at the time named, was campaigning as well. And Joseph Smith took them into his house, at least what they called the Nauvoo Mansion, which was part house, part inn, part general store, if I remember right. And in his usual fashion, which he would do to any visitor that visited the town, would sit there and talk with them for hours. And a lot of people even said that he was very abrasive about it. Like, he would talk your ear off. Which I think is something really cool. And Joseph Smith wasn't just he was a very charismatic person, I guess you could say. He would do everything he could to befriend anybody he met, because he felt that everyone deserves to love one another. And that's what Jesus Christ taught, and that's what he followed. And in looking at... and this is something that I have been thinking about for the last week, is... Stockton, how much of the Doctrine and Covenants have you fully read?
Well, about half.
Okay, so what would you get out of Joseph Smith's character out of reading that?
Well, one thing I was actually about to mention to you was a little bit different. Is that this book that I got a couple Christmases ago, called The Journal of Joseph Smith, compiled by Lee Nelson, so good. Goes over like kind of like Joseph Smith's own personal notes and everything like that, and the people that wrote about him. So Joseph's life is it was very simple. Like, especially in the beginning, he just was living on the farm with his family, nothing really to worry about, and then of course and then he just had that desire just to know what was best, and wanted to know what route to actually go to, and that's when he got that revelation, visitation from God and Jesus Christ to know that none were true, to establish the new one. And so, of course, after many years, once he was ready, then it was revealed. Then Joe Murray visited him 3 times in the night, and all that stuff. And so he well, easy, like in the beginning, but definitely after that moment, Satan tried everything against them. But he went ahead like full on, not giving anything back. Like one of like the quotes I always enjoy, whatever he says, is like he's like, I feel like I'm like swimming in a deep ocean, and I feel like my head keeps going under the water.
Yeah.
And he goes upon saying like, I'd rather drown in the deep ocean than drown in the shallows.
Yeah. Better deep
And
than
so he
shallow
was-
is what he said.
Yeah, he was very charismatic, very stubborn.
Oh yeah.
Because when it came to his beliefs and everything like that, he would not did not give anything.
No.
And he was always the nicest. And
Oh,
everything like
yeah.
that. He was trying to find the best way to do things and not have to cause anybody trouble and all that.
Yeah. And one of the coolest things I think about Joseph Smith is he would never pass up on an opportunity to share the gospel. Not even with people who are already members of the church. Like, if he was doing an activity with them, he would always try to find something to share with them. And that's where all these revelations from Doctrine and Covenants would come from at times, is because a lot of people would come up to him and ask him questions. And that's one of the things that I love about Joseph Smith, is he wasn't afraid to ask questions, which is what we should all be willing to do, is not be afraid to ask questions. And obviously it's a hard thing to want to do sometimes, because you never want the answer for some of these questions. But Joseph Smith always sought answers. One of my favorite ones is how he got the word of wisdom. And it came about because when they would hold church meetings in their home, his wife Emma would always have to clean up afterwards. And there was so much chewed tobacco on the floor that she would spend almost the entire week scraping it off with just metal utensils and stuff like that. She would literally have to scrape it off the floor. And she got so sick of this one day that she went up to Joseph Smith and really complained to him. And so Joseph Smith went and asked God about it. Which I think it's very interesting. It's interesting because you'd never think that, like, oh, well, my wife's upset. The first thing I should do is go ask God. But Joseph Smith believed firmly that if you had a question, that it had to go to Heavenly Father. And that kind of sticks in with his stubbornness, I would say. Is, yeah, he would do whatever he could. And so he asked God about how they should live, how they should eat, and what they should really do about some things. And he got the word of wisdom, which obviously many members of the church were not incredibly thrilled about, because back then all these things like drinking, and much like today, drinking and smoking and stuff like that, were seen as acceptable. And
It was commonplace.
oh yeah, it was common. It was almost like you had to be. It was a part of society. to really be a part of society, you had to do these things, and that's what it seemed like back in those days. But yeah, like the revelations they received, which are a lot, and I think we will spend the next several videos talking about said revelations. Because there's so many of them, and it really shows the nature of the prophet Joseph Smith, who he was, what he believed, and what he was willing to do for the people of the church. And there was literally nothing he wouldn't do. For the saints suffering in Missouri, well, was it Missouri? Yeah, in Missouri, he gathered an army to, and though be it small, to go defend the saints there. And also the homes that they had to leave. They went back to take them back, because obviously they were unjustly taken from them, and they wanted it back. As would anybody want their home back. And like Joseph Smith prayed to God, and he told him, yeah, go ahead and gather people together and go see what you could do about it. And yeah, he gathered people, and it wasn't very hard for him to do it, because obviously people wanted to go, and I guess some people, and I can guarantee some of those people wanted revenge not just to defend homes, but wanted revenge on those who had killed and hurt people. I mean, who wouldn't? Right? Like, you look at World War II. As soon as Allied soldiers saw the first death camp, the treatment of the Germans was very harsh by the soldiers who actually saw them. So much so that Eisenhower had to pull almost every single soldier